We'd like to welcome you to a very, very special edition of The Social. The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is a day for all of us to reflect on the legacy of residential schools across this country. When Phyllis Webstad was just 6 years old, she got her orange shirt taken from her on the first day of residential school. So today, we are all wearing orange in honor of Phyllis and all Indigenous survivors, as well as those who never returned home.
That's right. Yeah. Today is really also an opportunity to celebrate the resilience, richness, and history of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities across this country. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today with an incredible group of guests over this next hour.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's start by welcoming our first guest. She's an educator, artist, and land defender. Please welcome Layla Staats to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Truth and Reconciliation Day, it differs from what it means. It differs, I think, to everyone. What does it mean to you?
For me, it's a journey. You know, I don't think that there's this magical destination that we're going to get to reclamation, but it's something that we honor and we respect and we acknowledge every day. There's a teacher out there, Susie Miller, and she says Orange Shirt Day is not just a day, but it's a way. And so as we've grown over these years of learning and education, we're in that truth segment. You know, we're in this truth part where we really have to listen. And as we take that knowledge of what we're learning and the awareness that we have, it becomes a way. We change the way. You know, we change the way we see and operate. They change the way that we connect with land and water. And we change our understanding of Indigenous issues and the roles and responsibilities of us as, you know, Canadian citizens.
You know, one of the many tragedies of residential schools is not just the erosion of Indigenous identity and culture, it was almost a full-out attempt to eradicate it. And so you've been really open about a journey that you've been on a place called the Red Road. Can you tell us what that is and what that means?
Yeah, so this idea of who we are as, you know, as a Mohawk woman, long before I was born, that was taken from me. My connection to my teachings, my language. I grew up in the city. So, you know, I didn't really have a place where I knew where I belonged. And so for me, it was always this feeling of something was missing in my life. And it came out in all the wrong ways, dealt with it in all the wrong ways in my life. And then it was actually the water. The water is where I found I didn't have to be any level of Native. I was always Native enough with the water. It understood me, it felt me, it heard me. So that has been really a guiding force. But honestly, I think there's so many of us, if we look at the years, the generations of residential schools, there's so many of us that have been dispossessed from our culture, from our land, from our territories, that we are finding our way back. So I think, you know, for me, it's about inspiring others that you have a place, you belong, and that this road that you're on, this road of learning and uncovering and unfolding, it's beautiful, it's hard, it's scary, but you know, there's this feeling of just, I guess, this strength that has come from me really truly believing in who I am and that I am Native enough, I am Mohawk, I am meant to stand for this water and this land, and it matters.
Absolutely. Now, Layla, I understand that your great-grandmother attended residential school, which makes you a generational survivor. And I understand that you also work with survivors at the Mohawk Institute Residential Schools. So talk to me about how these conversations have helped you in your healing as well.
I think, you know, an elder once said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because we need to listen. So sitting with these survivors, I used to do these interviews, and I remember there was one, and I suggest you Google him, Geronimo Henry. I think he's might even been on the show somewhere on one of our newscasts, but he said he went to the school for 11 years when he was 5 years old, and I have a 5-year-old daughter. And he said in those 11 years, never once did he hear the words, "I love you." And it just broke my heart thinking about my child, my 5-year-old, going to the school and never having that feeling of love and acceptance. And then you understand that these children, if they made it out, they grew up to have children, and not understanding that dynamic of compassion and love and someone to say we're proud of you and we love you. So for me, that was a big learning of my own issues with being able to express love, my own issues with feeling love and accepting it and showing it to my children. And I think that that moment of awareness is when we have that ability to heal. And so when I can recognize it, I can make a difference and change it on that generational level.
Let's talk about, in your opinion, what should this country's reconciliation priority be right now?
For me, I think it comes back to we have this extravagant document with all of these calls to actions, and now it's time to no longer just point at it, but it's time for action. It's time to be implementing these calls to action in our business, in our politics, in our banks, in our homes, our families, at our kitchen tables, to indoctrinate this into our new way of being as this path to reconciliation that we go on. And these ideas of land back, they're actually an invitation to reclaim not just land mass, but our relationship to the land. So I think that that's really important, and amplifying Indigenous voices. When we see these issues, when we see nations rising against pipelines, when we see nations saying no to development, when we see them, we support them, we lift them up, we push their voices out. And I think that that's what's going to make a difference. For me, it's hard to have a whole lot of confidence that this massive change is going to come from the top down. But for me, I've seen it, and it's coming from the ground up. It's coming from the people.
Layla, our conversation with you is just getting started, and it is just so inspiring, to say the least.
I get to use the cup.
You can use the social. A lot of people love that.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.